everyone. Welcome to the WOW Podcast, where we are connecting and empowering women through sports. I'm Jade, and joining me virtually is GeNienne and Stephanie. Hey, ladies.
Hello.
Guys, guess what? We have made it to episode 10, our
Woo!
third virtual one. It is wow.
Congratulations to us. Yay.
Yes. And speaking of some wow women, we are so excited to have joining us beauty and health expert, Dr. Germaine Williams, later on in the episode. But before we get into learning more healthy tips from her, let's discuss what's been going on in Redskins Nation and around the league. All of our lives have been changed and touched due to COVID-19, and football is no different. We are all adjusting and adapting to this new world. Off-season workouts were set to start April 6th. As we all know, that did not happen. The NFL and the Players Union reached an agreement Monday to conduct voluntary virtual off-season workouts, starting as soon as April 20th for all teams with new coaches. So thanks to Coach Ron Rivera, we will be starting a week earlier than the other teams. That means that even though players and teams can't meet in person due to the coronavirus, teams can be in contact with their players and begin distributing off-season materials, playbooks, and other off-season plans. So that is really exciting news that football is going to get starting soon and that we are going to adjust and adapt to this virtual world.
Yeah, and I'm sure everyone was so excited to hear this just because literally it's been a waiting game. All of the coaches across the league have had to just wait for the NFL, the Players Association to make a decision and put some guidelines out there, and finally they are out there. So overall, I'm sure Coach Rivera, along with other coaches, are just having to put their trust in the team and hoping that they will step up and do what they need to do at home. And we've seen that, right? We've seen that on social media. We've seen, obviously the players that have their own personal gyms, it makes it a little bit easier, but others are having to search. They're doing training virtually. They're having to get really creative. Linebacker Thomas Davis Sr. basically told local media that, hey, you just got to stay on top of making sure that you're in shape as players. That's basically their job. So hopefully everyone is staying on top of their health, staying on top of what they're eating, staying on top of their skills, even though they cannot get together and physically work out and be with one another during this kind of unprecedented time.
Yeah, our own J.D. McKissick, he says he's just running hills and putting in workouts, and he was quoted, I'm trying to keep my conditioning and my weight good. So that's about it. And then Kyle Allen was working out with Josh Allen and Sam Darnold in California. Typical for them, but different in the sense that it's in a garage now and not at a gym. The difficult part for them, they said, is finding a place to throw a football. Parks are closed. I experienced that with my own kids, trying to find a park for us to play football in, not happening. So everybody's getting creative. Kind of makes me think of a Rocky movie where he goes to the barn to get in shape for his match, and he's like hanging from the barn ceiling doing those sit-ups and like throwing tires and plowing, and that's just what we're all doing, I envision, right?
Yeah, most definitely. But we need to make sure that our players have that theme music as well, right?
Yeah.
Whenever I watch that Rocky movie and it comes to the workout scene, I literally want to get up and start working out with him.
Right, exactly. With his face, that snarl.
Yeah. That's what we need. We need that intensity. But what I love about it is, they're making the most of something that like we're all doing. We're just trying to make the most of what we can and do what we can. And I'm hoping, and I think what's going to happen, because I know for me personally, I'm hoping it rejuvenates and really gives them a repurposing moment for them and really lights that fire again. We don't really appreciate things till they're taken away. And now that sports are kind of taken away, and to have football back soon and to have the fans in the stands, I think it's going to be really exciting. And I think our players are going to be really pumped. And I know that we're pumped. And not only just because it's a new coach and a new era, but just to be able to be all together again and to really be together during the football season. I think it's going to be insane. And I think what also gives me some hope is knowing that Coach Ron Rivera has been through a familiar and similar situation before. He is used to an unconventional offseason. In 2011, when he was the new coach for the Carolina Panthers, it was during the lockout. So his players didn't get to be together in facilities, and from March to, I think, the end of July. So he's used to that. And it really, that was his first year, and it really kicked off an amazing tenure there for him at Carolina. And I'm really hoping that this is kind of like a precedent for him, and he kind of gets off to an unprecedented, unconventional start, and it really lights a fire for his era. So I got trust in it. I think it's going to be a positive thing for us, and I'm really excited for the Redskins to get going.
Yeah, and definitely, like, the main thing here is that we have to focus on what we can control, right? We really have to make sure that we don't get too bogged down on what we can't do, and instead get creative with what we can do and still making it happen.
Absolutely. And you just took the thoughts right out of my head, but safety Sean Davis came out last week or this week and said it, and it really stuck and resonated with me. He said, I'm just trying to do the best we can, control the controllable. And that is something that I know that we come to it a lot in cheerleading and in our everyday life, is control what you can control. And the NFL is doing just that, especially with the draft being a week out. I'm really excited, like you said, to see kind of how they get creative and innovative and do the draft experience. And I know all of you are, so make sure you tune in to the Washington Redskins 2020 virtual draft experience. Join us live on social media from Thursday, April 23rd through Saturday, April 25th for the 2020 virtual draft experience presented by 7-Eleven. I cannot wait to see who is going to be wearing that burgundy and gold very, very soon. It's going to be awesome. And I can't wait for us to be back together on the next podcast to talk about our picks and who we got. All right, guys, that's a wrap on segment 1. Next up, we have Dr. Williams. To help during the time, Subway restaurants are offering a free footlong when you buy 2 family takeout specials. Additional charges for extra, free sub of equal or lesser price at participating restaurants. No additional discount, not valid on delivery. Free delivery is also now available through all applicable providers in the market. Use promo code SUBWAY NOW to waive all delivery fees on your next purchase.
Claim your spot in the Redskins virtual draft experience presented by 7-Eleven. Don't miss exclusive interviews with Redskins players and coaching staff, giveaways, and much more. RSVP at redskins.com/virtual draft so we can count you in.
75 tons of game day trash and recyclables need to find a home. So when the final whistle blows, our team hits the field. As an official partner of the Washington Redskins, RTS is connecting FedEx Field with smarter waste solutions to ensure a more sustainable and responsible approach to what's left behind at the end of a game. RTS, a better waste company. Find out more at rts.com. All right, WOW, we're coming into segment 2. This is the WOW podcast, where we're connecting and empowering women through sports. So last Thursday, WOW had the opportunity to hold our first virtual event, which was our webinar. It was Creating Healthy Habits Through Food, Essential Oils, and Meditation. And the amazing and lovely Dr. Germaine Williams is here with us today to talk about what we discussed during this webinar. It was very eye-opening, as always. Every time I listen to you, Germaine, I learned something new, and just very honored to always have you working with our women of Washington. So I think there were so many questions, but one that kind of stuck out to me was a lot of women in different ways were asking, how do I build my strength with its mind, body, immunity during this time?
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you guys. I'm so excited to be back with you guys again. And that was such an amazing webinar. And there were so many questions, like you said, about how to support your immune system during this time. And there's so many ways. I think the biggest thing I wanted to impress upon women is that the immune system works in concert with the other systems of the body. And so the more that you can strengthen the digestive system, the circulatory system, it in turn strengthens the immune system. We know that most of your immunity is housed in the gut. So when we support good gut health, we in turn help support our overall immune system. And so there are foods that we can eat during this time. We talked about that in Lent. Certain foods have affinity to the lungs, which is one of the organs or the organ that the COVID is affecting primarily. So any of your white foods like your horseradish and your radishes and pears and apples are really wonderful for the lungs. Garlic and onions are also very powerful. Obviously, we want to reduce the bad white foods like sugar and dairy and processed foods and flour and breads and pastas. All of these tend to depress and weaken the immune system. So I shared with the ladies that eating living foods, nice, a variety of colors in the rainbow help give us a wide range of antioxidants and vitamins and minerals that, again, will help support the immune system as well.
Yeah, and I have to admit, here are my notes. I have like tons and tons of notes of just everything that you were saying. I was just absorbing it all in, just because there really are so many different ways that we can improve our immune system, just ourselves, that we can do every single day at home, and that we can obviously pass on to our children and then other people in our family as well. One thing that really surprised me was something that you said about the liver. And it basically, you said that your liver holds anger and resentment. Can you talk a little bit more about that, and then what you can do about that to make sure that you kind of detox your liver and get all of that resentment and anger out?
Yeah. Well, GeNienne, in traditional Chinese medicine, every organ is associated with an emotion. And so lungs are actually associated with grief. And the liver is associated with anger. The kidneys are associated with fear. So a lot of times, sometimes the weakness that we have or the disharmony that we may have in a particular organ may be related to an emotional issue, maybe even more profoundly than a physical issue, right? So a lot of times what you'll see is when those particular organs, according to traditional Chinese medicine, are impacted and they're in disharmony, then there is some type of emotion that the person really does need to address. Sometimes they're very deep-seated emotions, something that maybe occurred in childhood, in particularly the liver. If we're very angry or very frustrated, we can see that played out in some other issues with maybe fatty liver or a sluggish liver, or you may see it in terms of constipation, because all of these systems really work together. So that when they're impacted, whether on a spiritual, emotional, or physical level, the whole body is, seems to have, a problem kind of functioning optimally. So I always recommend for clients, we just can't address just the physical, because we are spirit, mind, body. We also have to do some work on those upper levels, spiritually, whether that's prayer and meditation. And we talked a lot about that in the podcast in terms of helping to reduce stress and balancing the body. Emotionally, that may mean that you have to forgive that person. You might have to write a letter and say, hey, I'm sorry, I've been holding this grudge or this resentment towards you for a long time. You may have to seek professional help and maybe have someone guide and work you through, those issues. But I think you do yourself a disservice if you just focus on the physical and not the other aspects of who we are. And those emotional things can certainly impact our body.
Yeah, and that's, I think, what everyone, I really hope, hears from this, is that there are tactical things that you can eat, you can get better sleep, you can meditate. All of that is wonderful. Those are things those are action steps that we can all do. But the internal is so important as well, as far as resentment, just because I know people, even in my own family, my friends, that are holding grudges or are upset about things that happened 10, 20 years ago. And it's impacting your physical health. It's impacting the inside, not just from an emotional standpoint, but from a physical standpoint as well. So that was like a huge light bulb when you were talking last week for me, for sure.
And, I think given what we have going on right now, we're really understanding how temporal and how fragile life is, and at the end of the day, let it go. Let it go. I mean, the bigger thing is love is the highest vibration on the planet. And if we are increasing our vibration and exercising love, and not only exercising it, but deliberately and intentionally implementing it in our life, it's like amplified, And so I just tell people, let it go. I mean, 20 years ago, or do you really even know what you were fighting about? Like, I mean, really. Like, just release and let go and spread love. That's my motto.
Yeah. And that that resonates because right now, what are we fighting with this disease that hits your lungs? And if that is love, that emotion, and, I think doing what you love, we talk about, trying to, maybe that book you always wanted to read, that hobby you always wanted to start. Now is the time. We have the time. Reconnect with people. Just open that heart center so that you can fight this disease that does attack the lungs. So, and that could be essential oils like we discussed as well, assisting. Do you have any last minute thoughts about essential oils and how to help that?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of essential oils. So you really kind of want to focus on all those antiviral essential oils: thyme, rosemary, oregano, cinnamon, tea tree. All of these are really, really powerful in terms of helping to fight viruses and other pathogens. So you can incorporate them in a steam bath, maybe inhale them, diffuse them in your home, add them in fresh herbs like thyme and rosemary into your cooking. So there's lots of ways that you can get them in pretty seamlessly.
Yes. Well, thank you. I know we didn't get an hour and 15 minutes, like we did last week, but just having you, I hope, other women are just inspired by you. You can follow Germaine. You want to go ahead and tell everybody how to find you?
Of course. My website is www.theredbloom.com. I'm also on IG, and my handle on IG is Beauty by Germaine. I'm also on Facebook, Germaine Williams. We're doing, obviously, virtual consults this time of the year. So if you need any additional support in terms of strengthening your overall wellness, we'd love to assist you.
All right. Thank you. Have a great rest of your day.
You too, guys. Be well.
Okay. Whether from the sidelines or in the classroom, whether your chalkboard is for X's and O's or vocab words, whether you're a pro football coach or Mrs. Johnson at George Mason High School, the Washington Redskins believe in the power of great teachers. That's why we're partnering with the youth entrepreneurs to bring Washington, D.C. teachers the resources they deserve. In response to the coronavirus pandemic, Youth Entrepreneurs has launched Teach Everywhere, a place for teachers to call home while adjusting to teaching at home. The resource contains distance learning activities, resources and tools, and a series of webinars from expert educators. Visit teacheverywhere.org to learn more.
Now more than ever, it's important to keep your car ready for anything. And at your local Honda dealer service department, you're in safe hands. Safe hands that are expertly trained using only Honda genuine parts. Safe hands that will take every precaution to keep your car clean and sanitized. Safe hands that follow strict CDC guidelines, working with gloves and covering all commonly touched surfaces with plastic. And best of all, safe hands that will work on any make or model, because with Honda, you and your car are in safe hands. Contact your local Honda dealer for more information.
Sign up for FanDuel now and get $5 in total bonus. Just make your first deposit to get started and you'll get an extra $5 in site credit. Go to FanDuel.com/FFT or download the FanDuel app. Welcome back to the WOW. We are heading into overtime. And as always, it is such a pleasure to listen to Dr. Germaine Williams speak. She is so brilliant and so insightful. I know that our Women of Washington got to learn a lot and tips from her last week on the webinar. I heard it went on for over an hour. And it is just so great during a time like this to be able to connect like that virtually. And she's brilliant.
Yeah, most definitely. And one thing that we thought we would do in overtime is really talk a little bit more about some of the tips that she gave all of the women on the webinar. She stressed the importance of taking action on at least one of the things that she said would really help us from a mind, body, and spirit standpoint. Like she mentioned before, it's not just about the physical part, but it's also really about your mind as well. So I wanted to share some of the things that she mentioned, which is really cool just because, of course, I took my notes. So I wanted to share those with everyone as well, because I'd be curious to see which ones maybe you, Stephanie and Jade, plan on taking action on, and I'll share which one I plan on incorporating into my daily life as well. So here's what she recommended for all of us. And obviously, the more of these that we can do, the better. First of all, just breathe. Really making sure that you're staying centered and focused and you're just taking time to take a deep breath. Go outside and get some sun, making sure that you get those vitamins that you need naturally outdoors. And she also recommended to connect with the earth. And so that basically means grounding yourself, taking your shoes off, but just having your feet in the ground and really connecting with Mother Earth. She also suggested that we turn off our Wi-Fi just to reduce the electronic frequencies, which I thought was very interesting as well, simply because it's something that we don't necessarily think about. But when you go to sleep, you should at least turn off the Wi-Fi or move your phone away from your bed altogether. She also recommended journaling, which I know is something that the three of us have brought up numerous times on this podcast. She suggested that we get dressed up. So even if you don't have anywhere to go, anywhere to be, still get dressed up, put on some makeup, do your hair, put on a nice outfit because it just makes you feel good. And she recommended singing. Because when you sing, you're normally feeling really good, you're feeling joyous, you're feeling grateful. So just, even if you can't sing, she recommended just do it, go in the shower. Try not to upset those around you, but make sure that you sing. And then last but not least, which I absolutely love, she said to stay in love. She said love has the highest vibration on planet Earth. So if you can always be in a state of love and giving out and putting love out into the universe, it literally is the highest vibration. So you'll attract that energy back to you. So those were just her kind of takeaway tips. And we kind of, wanted to encourage everyone out there to take one of those and move forward with it. Take some action and make, just to make sure that you're feeling better from a mind, body, and spirit standpoint. So of those, Stephanie, I'm going to throw the ball over to you. Which of those actions are you going to take?
Well, gosh, they're all amazing and need about an hour per recommendation because they're so inspiring. But what I've been trying to do is make my mind strong right now because there's a lot of worry. Obviously, I worry about my parents, I worry about my kids, just everybody. And so I came upon an app. Deepak Chopra and Oprah Winfrey have this free app right now on meditation. And I just downloaded the 21-day free daily meditation program on hope in uncertain times. And I'm on day 5, but already I can tell that it's helping. I'm sleeping better at night, which I know Germaine mentioned in the webinar that meditation is like being in a deep sleep. And for me, it has helped my sleep at night, which I was surprised. But it made me realize that hope is a strength. If you use it the right way and you kind of focus on that, it is a strength rather than a weakness. It allows you to be able to look at change as positive. And instead of trying to control everything, you accept things and you say, okay, this is an opportunity. Change is an opportunity for me. And if I can accept that every day, it's not scary. There's only a place for hope and fear. And what they say is invite one to stay because they both can't live in the same place. And to me, that was really cool. And I've been living that every day. Like, okay, fear, you don't have room here. So that's what I took away from her.
Oh, I love that. Love that.
Thank you.
I just want to put that on a sticky somewhere on my computer where I seem to sit all day long.
I love that too.
So, Jade, what about you?
Yeah, well, what I've been trying to do, along with what Dr. Germaine was saying, was I guess she calls them beauty walks or just taking walks outside. I also try to take at least an hour to 2 hours a day if the weather is permitting to sit outside and work just to see how beautiful it is around you and kind of put things into perspective. One thing that I definitely need to do and I'm going to work on is putting my phone down, at least. I think you get those, I know I get it on my phone, but it tells you how long your screen time has been. And I think during the quarantine, I am just constantly, talking to family, checking the news, checking social media. And although it's great to be connected, it also plays a toll on your mental strength. And that's something that I need to work on, definitely.
Ditto. So that's one of the things I want to change. So I have Alexa as my alarm now. So I stopped using my phone. So there's no reason for me to have my phone next to my bed. So I think I'm going to move that into the restroom or somewhere else so that I don't have that Wi-Fi right there next to my face. And now that it's warming up, I definitely want to get outside more. So even taking my work outside on my deck and just absorbing the sun. So as a quick recap for everyone, I just want to go through them one more time because this is going to be one of your WOW goals for the week is to pick at least one of these and let us know which one you're going to implement this coming week. So just breathe, get some sun, connect to Mother Earth, take off those shoes and just feel the ground, turn off your Wi-Fi, journal, get dressed up, get pretty, sing, and then last but not least, stay in love.
I love it. And speaking of ways to get dressed up and to get pretty and feel pretty is you can get dressed up and join us for the WOW Coffee Chat Check-ins, which are happening on April 18th and the 25th. One event that I'm very excited for is on Cinco de Mayo. WOW is hosting a virtual happy hour on their IG account. So make sure you follow WOW Redskins on all of their social media accounts to be able to join us on all these awesome events that we're doing during this time apart. And with that, we have to go, unfortunately, but I just want to say thank you so much. It's great to see each of you. Thank you so much for listening. And we have a lot of exciting guests still to come on the WOW. Make sure you rate, review, subscribe, and follow us on social media. And as always, thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Dear customer service, I can always count on Novak. My power is always on. My payments always go through. And Novak actually cares about the community they serve.
Dear Novak, your electric costs are reasonable. Some electricity is from alternative sources, and cost reductions are passed along during the year. Thanks.
Novak, power you can count on.
COVID-19 is threatening our nation. But during this critical time, you can make a difference. Join the Department of Veterans Affairs and save lives. We need medical professionals at every level, including retirees, to help care for patients in facilities in every state and through telehealth. You can be brought on quickly, and this won't impact federal retirement for retirees. Will you join us? Visit va.gov/join us to learn more.
Work is work, but there's nothing like a good workout. Tennis, mountain biking, a good run, sweating off the week. That's what weekends are for. Of course, a misstep could put you out of commission. That's why Inova Sports Medicine is here for you. We treat your injuries and recovery like you're a pro. In fact, Inova is the official sports medicine partner of the Washington Redskins. See how we keep you on top of your game at innovasports.org.